The collapse of North Korea, Kim Jong Un's tearful plea for help. Imagine the unshakable figure of an authoritarian leader, a man who commands with an iron fist, standing before his people, not in power, but in tears. That's precisely what happened when Kim Jong Un, North Korea's supreme leader, broke down, begging his citizens for help. This rare and startling moment sent shockwaves around the world. How could a regime, so obsessed with projecting strength and invincibility, find itself in such a vulnerable position? What does this moment reveal about the crumbling state of North Korea? In today's deep dive, we'll unravel the secrets behind Kim's emotional plea, exposing the devastating economic collapse, the growing cracks in his regime, and the mounting pressures that threaten to push the nation to its breaking point. Is North Korea, a country that has long prioritized military might over basic survival, on the verge of total collapse? The economic collapse, a country in ruins. North Korea has long portrayed itself as a formidable military force, its propaganda machine painting a picture of strength and resilience. But behind the closed borders lies a very different reality. The nation's economy is in tatters, crumbling under the weight of decades-long sanctions, mismanagement, and isolation. The downfall began in 1991 with the collapse of the Soviet Union, North Korea's primary economic ally. Losing this critical support was a crushing blow. Combined with international sanctions aimed at curbing its nuclear ambitions, the country's economic lifeline was effectively severed. Today, North Korea's GDP per capita is a shocking $1,200 per year, one of the lowest in the world. This dire figure translates into extreme poverty for most of the population, with over half reportedly malnourished. The healthcare system, once touted as a source of pride by the regime, is nearly non-existent. Hospitals lack essential medicines, and sanitation conditions are abysmal. Housing, too, is a luxury for many. Only 70% of families have adequate shelter. Meanwhile, Kim Jong Un funnels billions into nuclear weapons, prioritizing his survival over the welfare of his people. Why Kim's nuclear obsession is unsustainable. Kim's fixation on nuclear weapons is not merely about power, it's a survival strategy. He believes that a robust nuclear arsenal is his best insurance against potential invasions from global powers like the United States or South Korea. However, this relentless focus on military strength comes at a staggering cost. As the regime pours its limited resources into its weapons program, the country teeters on the brink of collapse. The result? A population on the verge of disappearing. North Korea faces a twofold crisis: mass defections and an alarmingly low birth rate. The disappearing population, a nation in crisis. Despite its draconian border controls, more North Koreans than ever are risking everything to escape. Defections to South Korea have surged, tripling in 2023 compared to previous years. Even North Korean soldiers stationed abroad are fleeing, emboldened by exposure to the outside world, a development we'll explore further. But the most alarming factor is North Korea's plummeting birth rate. At 1.7 children per woman, it falls far below the replacement level of 2.1 required to sustain a stable population. This demographic collapse is devastating for a country that depends on a large, young workforce to fuel its economy and maintain its massive military. The regime's response has been both draconian and ineffective. Abortions and contraceptives are banned, with severe penalties for violations. Kim has even tried incentivizing childbirth with meager rewards like small food rations or slightly better housing. Yet, these measures fall flat in a country where even basic necessities are scarce. For many women, the idea of raising a child under such dire conditions is unimaginable. Instead, they prioritize survival, choosing not to marry or have children. This cultural shift has angered the regime, which blames women for absorbing Western values and accuses them of succumbing to capitalist ideologies. The threat of smuggled media, a new enemy, emerges. Adding to Kim's woes is the rise of smuggled media from South Korea. USB drives and DVDs containing South Korean dramas and music are infiltrating the country, offering North Koreans a glimpse of a vastly different world. For those raised on propaganda proclaiming North Korea as the greatest nation, This newfound knowledge is a rude awakening. In response, the regime has cracked down, imposing severe punishments on anyone caught consuming or distributing foreign media. But no matter how harsh the penalties, the damage is done. The growing discontent isn't limited to ordinary citizens. Even members of Kim's inner circle are becoming restless. Turning to Russia, a desperate gamble. Faced with mounting challenges, Kim has turned to one of his last remaining allies, Russia. In a controversial move, North Korea has sent troops and weapons to support Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine. In return, Kim hopes to receive technology, fuel, and political backing. However, this alliance is a double-edged sword. North Korean soldiers deployed in Russia are exposed to unprecedented freedoms, including unrestricted internet access. Reports suggest they've consumed large amounts of Western content, further eroding the regime's control over information. Even more troubling for Kim is the risk of desertion. Russia's exploitation of North Korean troops as cannon fodder, combined with unfulfilled promises of payment, increases the likelihood of soldiers defecting or revolting. This situation could spark further instability within North Korea. The cracks in the regime, is the end near? Kim's tearful plea is a testament to the immense pressure his regime faces. The economy is in shambles. The population in North Korea is shrinking, and with it, the iron grip Kim Jong Un has maintained on his nation is beginning to weaken. Younger generations, equipped with glimpses of the outside world through smuggled media and information leaks, are growing less susceptible to the regime's propaganda machine. These young people are increasingly resistant to the oppressive authority that has long dictated every aspect of their lives. This cultural and ideological shift within the population poses one of the greatest threats to Kim's rule, as the younger demographic plays a crucial role in the country's future workforce and military strength. The recent alliance between North Korea and Russia might seem like a lifeline for Kim's government, but it comes with steep consequences. While support from Russia may provide some temporary relief in the form of resources or technology, it further isolates North Korea on the global stage. The nation is already cut off from most of the world due to its nuclear ambitions and human rights violations, and strengthening ties with another globally contentious nation like Russia deepens that isolation. This leaves North Korea vulnerable, as the reliability of Russia's support is uncertain. How long will Moscow continue to back a failing regime? Historical alliances suggest that such relationships last only as long as they remain convenient. Amid this backdrop of growing internal and external pressures lies the critical issue of succession. Kim Jong-un's young daughter, rumored to be his chosen heir, has become a topic of speculation both inside and outside North Korea. However, her potential to maintain the regime's stability is widely doubted. At her tender age, she lacks the experience, authority, and charisma necessary to command loyalty from the nation's military and political elites. Furthermore, the possibility of a female leader in a deeply patriarchal society like North Korea introduces another layer of skepticism about her ability to hold power. If Kim's government continues to fracture under these pressures, the question is not just about succession but about the survival of the regime itself. The cracks in North Korea's foundation are growing wider. Economic collapse, food shortages, declining birth rates, and an increasingly disillusioned population create a volatile environment. The tightly controlled grip on power that has defined the Kim dynasty for decades is loosening, and it is becoming evident that these issues cannot be resolved by the same oppressive measures that sustained the regime in the past. What lies ahead for North Korea? Kim Jong-un's tearful plea to his people symbolizes more than just a moment of vulnerability. It reveals a nation on the edge of an abyss. Decades of prioritizing military ambitions and nuclear power over the well-being of its citizens have left North Korea in a state of perpetual crisis. The humanitarian toll is devastating: malnutrition, inadequate healthcare,